the sunny shores of Clearwater Beach, welcome to the Citizens First American Radio Network, broadcasting out of our tropical bungalow overlooking the beautiful Gulf of Mexico. Hi, I'm your host and citizen statesman, Steve Redden. Welcome, citizens, to the First American Radio Show, where we only talk about the solutions for our great country, not just one long complaining and whining session as we're all used to with all the other great radio hosts out there. Well, that being said, let's get down to business. As you know, our system is broken. Actually, it is fragmented into hundreds of tax regulation pieces. And that, my fellow citizens, is what I'm going to focus on until we can finally have true tax reform and economic recovery. As you know, I am, or maybe you don't know this, but let me inform you right now. I am the founder of OneTaxForAll. Yes, you can find out a ton of information about our tax system at the coolest website in the world, and it's powered by a company I'm very familiar with, eMotion Software. So when you go to get some software for the coolest websites, go to emotionsoftware.com. I am the founder of OneTaxForAll, and I'm also the author and creator of the United States Superhighway Transaction Tax Reform and Economic Recovery Bill, or amendment. I'd love to see it as an amendment personally, but take baby steps first. This is also known as the NATTAX. And today, after tons of requests, I'm going to replay a clip of a speech I did almost a year ago. And this speech was in frustration to reach out to all the senators and congressmen, radio hosts, news agencies, with hundreds of calls, emails. I even faxed to the copy of the bill, a teaser, to the congressmen and senators like 4 weeks in a row with an email fax, and not one representative has ever responded. So yes, I know for a fact taxation without representation is alive and well. So let me give you a little background on that tax, and then we'll play the speech, the clip. Economists, and even JFK over 50 years ago, said income taxes don't work. They kill economic growth. So to find the right solution to our tax problem, you need to look for the largest base of cash flowing through our economy. And that is what you would tax. And believe it or not, that solution has been right under our noses since the beginning of the Revolutionary War, 1976. Yeah, that's when my revolution started, in 1776. And it's actually an expanded form of a sales tax, and it's called the NATTAX. And it's only one national tax taxing every transaction with a small percentage of around 3 to 5%. And that's where everyone pays their fair share. No more income tax, no more inheritance tax, no more capital gains tax, no more excise tax, no more complex forms to fill out, and yes, a reformed IRS made to serve the United States citizens. Well, now let me play for you that speech on big government and big business. And this is the speech they say it's the speech the big business and big government doesn't want you to hear.
The heritage of our great nation started thousands of years ago when God gave Moses the Ten Commandments. The foundation of our modern law, whether you believe in God or not, are those laws, and they are embedded with a moral code of love. Our laws are laws of compassion and unconditional love that are made to protect our freedom. Freedom for All was born 2,000 years ago in the greatest freedom fighter of all. The words of Jesus transcended beyond man's religion to create our inalienable rights. The rights our founding fathers so carefully arranged our Constitution to ensure all Americans life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Not only did our nation's original father make sure that we knew that we were all brethren equal, we are our brother's keepers. The greatest sacrifice that only as Americans can we truly say we love our enemies, and around the world we lay our lives down for all of mankind. As if Jesus knew that America would be the light of the world, and our Constitution paraphrases and repeats his words, that we may be made perfect in one. That's one nation under God, indivisible, we the people, to form a more perfect union. A union of citizens working perfectly together, but unless the least of us have the opportunity to achieve the American dream of justice, liberty, tranquility, and prosperity, then none of us should. Our inalienable rights are the guarantee that weaves and patches us together, not as different races and creeds, but just as Americans, perfect in one. However, no matter how perfect our union, we are faced with the age-old enemy hidden as wolves in finely fitted suits, the blinding greed of government, big business, and Wall Street. That greed is the erosion of our most fundamental right, a right so powerful it started the Revolutionary War and the birth of our nation. There will be no taxation without representation. Big government's oppressive, out-of-date tax system has finally broken trust and the backs of the great nation. And why? Our current tax system is cobbled together by a group of laws and regulations tilted in favor of big business, Wall Street, and big government. Control our money and you control us. It's time for Americans to demand not a patched-up old tax system, but a revolutionary new tax system, not a tax system that only unfairly burdens the U.S. citizen, a system that fairly taxes all segments of the economy. It is now perfectly clear that the infectious, blinding greed is the enemy, not to just the poor, but to all individuals and all mankind. Big government, big business, and Wall Street's greed has hijacked our country. Lobbyists have been given a monopoly when it comes to the access of our lethargic, bloated government. We are witnessing a silent coup d'etat of our great nation by profiteering big businesses and Wall Street. When our nation faced the worst economic collapse since the Great Depression, who was bailed out? Not you, not me, but big business and Wall Street. Our government mainly represents big business, big banks, and Wall Street. We now have breached. Like a lifeboat, we have flipped over. We the people are unfairly taxed without representation. Now all of us have to deal with this infection of greed. Working small business citizens and individual employees are forced to be part of this necessary evil. But we will have to endure this oppression until we stand up and start to clean out the halls of our government. The U.S. citizen, yes, Main Street, not Wall Street, is left to pay all the national bills, not only with their hard-earned money, but with our loyal lives as well. While big business pays just a slither of federal taxes, Wall Street practically pays nothing. Let's face it, I am no one, and you are no one in the eyes of our government. Prove it to yourself. Show me your invitation for dinner at the White House or the governor's mansion, or shall we call them the government's palaces that we have paid for. Big business, big government, and Wall Street are not citizens and deserve and have no rights under our Constitution for representation. Big business has convinced us that they are the leaders and engine of our society. And big government, well, they say they're the leaders and the engine of our society. But let me tell you this, neither were present on the battlefields of the Revolutionary War. Big government and big business did not bleed on the battlefields. Our ancestors bled into our nation's soil through sacrifice to ensure their rightful heirs, the citizens, the right of fair taxation for fair representation. I say it is the union of American citizens and our individual efforts and achievements that are the power that fuels the engine of our great nation. Without the power of the U.S. citizens' purchases of goods and services, there would be no economy. Our contribution of trillions of dollars each year is the fuel for our economy and our government. It is the individuals, the citizens of the United States, that truly owns and controls our great country, not only by birthright, but with our hard-earned dollars. So why do we let big business, big government, and Wall Street not pay their fair share for having the privilege of serving the humble masters and the true owners of our nation, us, the United States citizens? The party is over. The parties are over. None of us were born Republicans. None of us were born Democrats. We were born Americans. It's time for Americans to come together to make a historical choice that will allow us to be perfect in one, to eliminate our out-of-date oppressive tax system and replace it with a modern, fair system. A system that will finally give the control of our money, our government, and our future back to us. It is now time for big government to concede and be accountable for their spending, and time for big business and Wall Street to pay their fair share. It is time for real reform and real recovery, a revolutionary new system, a revolution to restore ownership of our nation to its rightful owners, the American citizens, through equal taxation for equal representation. However, in a day when the greatest minds of the economy and economists agree that income taxes don't work and income taxes keep the economy from growing, they offer us no alternative. So what is the system that will evenly distribute the tax burden across all segments of our economy and have the least impact of economic growth and, just importantly, impact the citizens? The profound truth is often found in simple ideas. It is this simple. Find the largest cash flow of the economy and apply the smallest tax possible on that cash flow. See, that's why we traditionally tax citizens' income and consumer spending. We thought that was the largest cash flow. So, is there a cash flow segment that does not target citizens or does not target a single segment of our economy, like gas or fuel, that is non-political, a tax system that will stabilize our economy into recovery, one system that will revolutionize tax collecting forever, so perfect of a system that it will actually become an amendment? Well, let me introduce to you a simple tax system using modern banking technology that far exceeds all criteria of modern-day economists, a perfect solution of tax reform and tax recovery in one: the National Transaction Tax, NATTAX. It's this simple. You get on the superhighway of the U.S. economy, you just pay one simple toll on each transaction. It's as easy as paying a state sales tax for everybody, for every business. The National Transaction Tax, NATTAX. Imagine your federal taxes being as low as 3%, but never higher than 5%. The NATTAX will offer a plethora of benefits. NATTAX will no longer allow the government to extort citizens with mountains of laws and paperwork. Taxes will never again be used for politically to divide citizens against each other. No longer pit the rich against the poor. NATTAX will distribute the weight of tax collection across all segments of our economy evenly. The transaction will shift trillions of dollars back into our economy to create millions of new jobs. You'll never see a huge chunk of your paycheck deducted. The new system fairly taxes all segments of the economy and will put thousands of dollars back in your pocket, like giving you a raise. You'll never pay an income tax again, but one simple transaction tax. Everyone, even underground economies, will have to pay the transaction tax. There will never be a complex tax form to fill out again. No more tax laws, no more tax courts, no more tax prisons, no more tax evasion, no more tax loopholes, no more tax deductions, no more inheritance tax, no more capital gain tax. Businesses can celebrate never having to do payroll withholding again. We'll never have to print extra currency that destabilizes the value of our dollar. There will only be one tax across the land. Now it's time for immediate reform and immediate recovery. You have a moral imperative. It is your turn, your duty, your responsibility to lead and support the greatest revolution since 1776. Finally, tax freedom. The NATTAX bill amendment revolution will have to overwhelm the big government and to send the message to the lobbyists to take their big business clients out of the halls of the people's house and make room for the new America. It's not until we have a tidal wave of Americans, millions upon millions strong, that we will make true reform and true recovery. Let us become perfect in one, join the founding brothers and sisters, and once and for all have equal taxation with equal representation.